Right, still ploughing the Pat Travers, Pat Thrall Furrow because I'm really enjoying it, because I love these records so much. This is a box set that is fantastic value for money, and you get all the Polydor albums. You actually get eight of them in this box, right? And I never had the first one that's got Maybelline. I never owned that album. Because in those days when you were a kid, you had to be very careful what you spent your album money on. So I did have Making Magic. I never owned Putting It Straight. They're first three on this. And I don't know how I could have done this, but I missed out on Heating the Street and Go For What You Know live. But those two are probably my favourites. Although Making Magic's a fantastic record. Anyway, Making Magic has a guest appearance from Brian Robertson from Thin Lizzy. And it always used to amaze me why Pat Travers never ended up in Thin Lizzy, because he was obviously kind of in the gang, because Brian played in his album, Scott played on Putting It Straight, and Lizzy had a lot of vacancies. There was a lot of times that Brian was in and out, and Gary was in and out and stuff. And that is not to take anything away in the slightest from Snowy White, because I absolutely adore Snowy's playing, or John Sykes Latterly, but always like Pat Travers. He's going to end up in Lizzy. It's going to be great. And the same applies to Pat Thrall. I used to think, Pat Thrall, the guys really respect his playing. Anyway, didn't happen. So the collaboration between Pat Travers is on Statesboro Blues. Now I'm sure you know the Almonds version, and both versions start. And the Almonds has got Dwayne going. That's an approximation without the slide. Obviously Dwayne played on the slide. But this one takes a completely different take on it. I got that, by the way, from watching a Tom Bukovac video. He played it amazingly without slide. So, their version, Pat Travers starts with, like that bit, right? And there's harmony guitar. Now you can play that, you could go, right, or you could go, right, or you could let the bass play that bit, right? Anyway, the harmony part goes. You were into it, right? So that's one part. So that's coming off, if you like, D major. Now they're not quite parallel, because this part goes. And it's 7 and 9, high 10, down to that A note, right? Whereas the other part goes. So it stays on that note. The first part goes, and then down a tone, and it's to make the chord a D and an A. A D and an A, right? So the first part, and then just like the 5-note scale, there's a little trill. First bit again. Then we're into it, right? But the second part, the part that's up here, that sticks on the D note, this time we're 8 and 10. Right? And give it a little shake, but there's not much space. The harmony is in this. I think this is just absolutely mind-bendingly brilliant. Right, so this goes 10, 12, 10, 11 is your major third. Goes up to the A, which is 10th in the B string, and back to 11. And then so that's the intro. Two parts that are not quite parallel. Against, and then against, against, same again, against, and then we're into the song. So right at that point, Pat Travers plays a pretty good guitar solo. I'm going to play that next.